8 years of marriage can feel like a lifetime, or like a quiet room where nothing ever changes. For me, it was both. When I married Aisha, I believed I had found everything a man could ask for: peace, loyalty, and a kind of love that didn't need to be loud to be real. She wasn't the type to argue or complain. She was calm, composed, almost too composed. At first, I admired that about her. But over the years, that silence started to feel different. Heavy. Empty. We lived in the same house, ate at the same table, slept on the same bed, but something between us slowly disappeared. Conversations became shorter. Smiles became rarer. And the one thing we both silently wanted never came: a child. At first, we told ourselves to be patient. It will happen, people said. Just give it time. We gave it 8 years. 8 years of doctor visits, quiet disappointments, and pretending in front of relatives that everything was fine. 8 years of watching other couples celebrate what we couldn't have. And through it all, Aisha never broke. Not once. That was what confused me the most. No tears, no anger, no desperation. Just acceptance. One evening, as I sat across from her at the dinner table, I finally asked the question that had been building inside me for years. Don't you ever feel anything about this? She looked up at me, her expression calm as always. What do you mean? I clenched my jaw. 8 years, Aisha. 8 years, and we still don't have a child. Doesn't that bother you? There was a pause. A long one. Then she simply said, if it's meant to happen, it will. That answer should have comforted me. Instead, it broke something inside me. Because it didn't feel like hope. It felt like she had already given up. Days turned into weeks after that conversation, but nothing changed. She continued her quiet routines, her soft smiles, her distant eyes. It was like she had made peace with a life I wasn't ready to accept. And that's when the thought first entered my mind. A second marriage. At first, I hated myself for even thinking it. It felt like betrayal, like I was giving up on her. But then another voice in my head whispered, what about your future? What about the family you've always wanted? The thought didn't go away. It grew stronger. Until one night, I finally said it out loud. Aisha, I think I should marry again. The words hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. I expected anger, shock, tears. But instead, she just looked at me. Calm, unshaken. If that's what you want, she said softly, then you should do it. I felt my chest tighten. That's it, I asked. That's all you have to say? She lowered her gaze, her voice barely above a whisper. I don't want to stand in the way of your happiness. Her words were gentle, but they cut deeper than anything she could have said, because in that moment, it didn't feel like she loved me enough to fight. It felt like she was letting me go, without even trying to hold on. And that was the moment I made my decision. If she didn't care, then maybe it was time I stopped caring too. What I didn't know was, the day of my second wedding would be the day everything I believed about her. The decision was made. And somehow, everything moved faster than I expected. Within weeks, my family had already started making arrangements. Relatives who had once whispered behind my back were now openly supporting me. You've waited long enough. You deserve a child. This is the right decision. Their words didn't comfort me. They just made it easier to ignore the guilt. Her name was Hera. She was kind, respectful, and everything a perfect bride should be. Younger, full of life, and most importantly, ready to build the future I had been waiting for. A future Aisha had silently stepped away from. The engagement was simple. No drama. Restance. And that was the strangest part. Because through it all, Aisha never changed. She helped prepare the house. She organized things. She even picked out decorations. Like she was arranging someone else's life, not watching her own fall apart. One evening, I found her carefully folding clothes in our room, the same room we had shared for 8 years. Aisha, I said quietly, you don't have to do this. She paused for a moment but didn't look at me. I know. Then why are you? Her hands continued moving, calm and steady. Because someone has to. That answer stayed with me. Because it didn't sound like love. It sounded like responsibility. Days passed, and the wedding preparations grew louder. Music, guests, laughter. Everything felt alive, except me. I started spending more time outside, avoiding the house, avoiding her. But no matter how far I went, one thought kept following me. Why doesn't she care? Not once did she ask me to stop. Not once did she question my decision. Not once did she fight for us. And somehow, that hurt more than any argument ever could. The night before the wedding, I couldn't sleep. The house was quiet for the first time in weeks. I stepped outside onto the balcony, hoping the cold air would clear my thoughts. That's when I saw her, Aisha, standing alone in the courtyard. She wasn't doing anything, just standing there, still, silent. For a moment, I thought about going down, talking to her, asking her one last time, "Do you really want this?" But I didn't move, because I was afraid of the answer. The next morning arrived faster than I was ready for. The wedding day. Everything was perfectly arranged. The venue was decorated beautifully, lights glowing. Flowers everywhere, guests dressed in elegance. From the outside, it looked like the beginning of a perfect new life. And I was the groom. Dressed, prepared, ready. Or at least, that's what everyone believed. As I stood there, surrounded by people, their voices faded into the background. Because my mind wasn't there. It was somewhere else. In a quiet house. At a silent dinner table. With a woman who never tried to stop me. "Are you ready?" Someone asked, adjusting my outfit. I nodded automatically. But deep inside, something didn't feel right. Suddenly, a strange unease settled in my chest. Like something was about to happen. Something I wasn't prepared for. And for the first time since making my decision, I hesitated. Just for a second. But sometimes, a single second is enough to change everything. The wedding hall was alive with noise. Music echoed through the air. Laughter blended with chatter. And flashes of cameras lit up every corner. From the outside, everything looked perfect. Inside me, there was only noise without meaning. I stood at the center of it all, dressed as a groom, surrounded by people who believed this was the happiest day of my life. And yet, my eyes kept searching, not for Ira, for Sisha. I didn't know why. Maybe it was habit. Maybe it was something deeper. Something I had ignored for too long. "Sir, please smile," the photographer said. I forced a small smile. Felt fakey. Everything did. The missing presence. As the ceremony began, guests took their seats. The atmosphere shifted into something more formal, more real. But something felt off. I looked around again. Still no sign of her. That strange unease from earlier returned stronger this time. Where is she? I tried to ignore it. Tried to focus on what was in front of me. Hira entered the hall, dressed beautifully, eyes lowered with quiet grace. The room admired her. She deserved this moment. She deserved someone fully present. And yet, I wasn't. The whisper that changed everything. Just as the ceremony was about to begin, one of the household staff rushed toward me. "Sir, can I speak to you for a moment?" His voice was low. Urgent. I frowned. What he said. Hesitated. Then said words that didn't make sense at first. "Madam, she's not in her room." A pause. "And her suitcase is gone." The moment time stopped. For a second, everything froze. The sounds around me faded into silence. "What do you mean?" "Gone?" I asked slowly. "We checked everywhere. She left early morning. No one saw her leave." My heart started beating faster. Not with anger. Not even with shock. But with something far more dangerous. Fear. A memory that refused to stay quiet. Suddenly, moments I had ignored came rushing back. Silence. Her calmness. Her acceptance. The way she never once tried to stop me. It wasn't strength. It wasn't indifference. It was goodbye. The letter. "Sir, there's one more thing." The staff member handed me a small envelope. My name was written on it. In her handwriting. My fingers trembled slightly as I opened it. Inside, a single letter. "You don't have to look for me." That was the first line. My chest tightened. I realized something too late. Love isn't proven by holding on. Sometimes, it's proven by letting go. I clenched the paper. My vision blurred slightly. You waited for something I couldn't give you. I stayed, hoping I would become enough one day. Each word felt heavier than the last. But love shouldn't feel like a responsibility. And you shouldn't have to look at someone else to feel complete. My breathing slowed. The world around me no longer existed. So I made the decision you couldn't make. I'm leaving. Not because I don't love you, but because I do. Silence. Be happy. Even if that happiness doesn't include me. Same. No goodbye. Absence. The breaking point. I lowered the letter slowly. For the first time since this all began, I understood. She didn't stay because she didn't care. She stayed because she loved me. Enough to let me go. Now, she was gone. Not fighting. Not crying. Not asking. Just gone. A choice that no longer felt right. "Sir, the ceremony is starting," someone said behind me. I didn't respond. Because for the first time, I wasn't thinking about the wedding. I wasn't thinking about the future. I was thinking about the past. About every moment I took for granted. About every silence I misunderstood. And suddenly, standing there as a groom didn't feel like moving forward. It felt like running away. The question that changed everything. I looked at the letter again, then at the stage, then at the exit. A single thought echoed in my mind. If she really didn't matter, then why does this feel like losing everything? And in that moment, for the first time since making my decision, I wasn't sure I could go through with it. The wedding hall felt suffocating. The letter trembled in my hands. But it wasn't the words anymore, it was what they meant. She didn't leave because she stopped loving me. She left because she thought she had no right to stay. A strange calm settled over me. Everyone around me waited for a reaction: anger, humiliation, maybe even tears. But instead, I folded the letter slowly and looked toward the stage. The bride stood there, frozen, confused, hurt. She didn't deserve this, but neither did she. "I'm sorry," I said quietly. And then I walked away. Gasps echoed behind me. Guests started whispering. Phones came out. A perfect wedding, collapsing in seconds. But I didn't look back. For the first time in years, I wasn't thinking about pride or what people would say. I was thinking about her. The streets outside were loud, chaotic, but inside my mind, there was only one voice. I didn't want to become your burden. I clenched my fists. Idiot. I muttered under my breath. She thought leaving me would make my life easier. Hours passed. Calls flooded my phone from family, from guests, from the bride's side. I ignored all of them, until one call made me stop. It was from an unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. "Hello?" Silence. Then a soft, trembling voice. "You shouldn't have read it." My heart stopped. "Where are you?" I asked instantly. "You shouldn't come," she whispered. "Everything is already ruined because of me." My voice hardened. "No, everything was ruined the moment you decided I didn't deserve the truth." There was silence again, but this time it wasn't empty. It was breaking. "I didn't want to trap you," she said finally. "I couldn't give you a child. I couldn't give you the life you deserved. So I thought if you hated me, it would be easier." My chest tightened. "Easier? For who?" I asked quietly. She didn't answer. Because she knew. I never asked for a perfect life. I continued. "I asked for you." The words hung between us. Heavy, honest, too late. "I'm at the old station," she said after a long pause. "Just don't come." Lainikuchi. Of course, I went. The station was almost empty. Dim lights, cold air, the sound of distant trains, and there she was, standing alone, just like all those nights when she carried everything silently. For a moment, I didn't move, because suddenly I understood everything. All those quiet smiles, all those times she said, "It's okay." All those moments I thought she was strong. She wasn't strong. She was breaking. Quietly. "You're late," she said without turning. I let out a small breath. I had to walk out of my own wedding first. She flinched. Guilt hit her instantly. "I'm sorry." "Istopi." My voice wasn't loud, but it stopped her completely. "You always do this," I said, stepping closer. "You decide everything alone. You suffer alone. You leave alone." She turned now, Tears were already in her eyes. I thought it was the right thing. No, I interrupted. It was the easiest way to disappear. Silence. Then her voice broke. I was scared. That was the first honest thing she had said. Not strong. Not calm. Just scared. I stood in front of her now, close enough to see everything she tried to hide. You should have told me, I said softly. We were supposed to face things together. Tears fell freely now. I didn't want to see you disappointed in me. And that's when it hit me. She wasn't afraid of being alone. She was afraid of losing me while standing next to me. I took a deep breath. The anger, the pride, the humiliation, all of it felt small now. Look at me, I said. She hesitated, then slowly raised her eyes. I'm already standing here, I said. I already chose. Her lips trembled. Chose? What? I didn't answer immediately. Because this time, this choice wasn't just about love. It was about everything we had lost. And everything we could still rebuild. The station lights flickered softly. The world felt like it was holding its breath. And for the first time since everything began, the decision was finally Minnie. The station was quiet. Almost too quiet. Only the distant hum of a train and the soft echo of footsteps filled the space between them. She stood there unchanged, yet completely different. The same eyes that once held certainty, now carried fear. I didn't come to stop your wedding, she said softly. I didn't reply, because deep down, I knew that wasn't true. She stepped closer, her voice trembling. I came because I realized too late what I lost. Those words should have meant everything. Once. But now, they felt like echoes of a past I had already buried. I looked at her. Really looked this time. Not the woman I loved. Not the one I waited for. But the one who walked away. Without looking back. You had your chance, I finally said. My voice was calm. Doggone. That scared her more than anger ever could. Tears filled her eyes. I was scared. I thought you'd always be there. No matter what. And there it was. The truth. Love. Not destiny. Just assumption. For years, I built my world around her. Every plan, every dream, every version of my future had her in it. But standing here now, I realized something painful. She was never fighting for us. Only I was. A train roared in the distance. The sound grew louder, like a countdown. A decision waiting to be made. She reached for my hand. For a moment, I almost let her. Memories flashed. Her smile. Huff. The way she used to say my name like it meant something. And maybe. Once it did. But love isn't just about memories. It's about choices. And she had already made hers. I gently stepped back. Not in anger. Not in revenge. But in acceptance. I loved you, I said quietly. And that's why I have to let you go. Her hand froze in the air. Her world. Collapsing in silence. I'm not the man who waits anymore. The train arrived. Doors opened. A new path. A new life. She broke down completely now. Please, don't do this. But I didn't stop. Because this time, One chose myself. As I stepped inside, I gave her one last look. Oh, with love. Not with hate, but with closure. The kind that doesn't need words. The doors closed. The train began to move. And for the first time in years, I felt free. Behind me, she stood alone. Not because she lost me, but because she realized. Tolaci, I was never meant to be the one she could lose.